Bhuvi, on the earth, Sumangalam, very auspicious, Aptakamaha, being satisfied in all his desires, Asthaya, residing, Dhama, in his own abode, Dwaraka, Ramamanaha, enjoying life, Udarakirti, he whose glories are very magnanimous in themselves. Samhartum, to destroy. Aichata, he wanted. Kulam, his dynasty. Sthita, there remaining. Kritya, of his business. Sesaha, some remnant. Translation. Sukadev Goswami said, the Lord who bore his body as the amalgamation of everything beautiful, dutifully executed the most auspicious activities while on the earth, although he was in fact without any endeavor, already satisfied in all desires. Residing in his abode and enjoying life, the Lord, whose glorification is in itself magnanimous, now wanted to annihilate his dynasty, as there still remained some small part of his duty to be carried out. Purport. This verse answers Parikshit Maharaj's question as to how the powerful members of the Yadu dynasty could be cursed by the Brahmanas and thus destroy themselves in a fratricidal war. By the word Samhartum Aichatakulam, it is clearly stated that Lord Krishna himself desired to withdraw his dynasty and therefore engaged the Brahmanas as his agent. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks here that Krishna had clearly demonstrated the insurpassable beauty and strength of his personal form, pastimes, pleasures to all the residents of the earth. Thus, his incarnation to kill the demons, save the devotees, and re-establish religious principles had been completely successful. When Lord Krishna noticed that his mission was now complete, everything had been done perfectly, he desired to return to his transcendental abode along with the Vishnus. Thus the Lord personally arranged for the Yadu dynasty to be cursed by the Brahmanas. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Aptakamaha means that Krishna is always self-satisfied, and yet in order to execute his transcendental pastimes, he arranged to destroy his own dynasty for three specific purposes. Namely, to re-establish in the heavenly planets those demigods who had taken birth among the Yadus to assist him. Second, to re-establish his plenary Vishnu expansions in their bodies such as Vaikuntha, Svetadvipa and Badrikashram. And thirdly, to remove himself from the vision of the material world along with his junior associates. In this connection, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has made several important remarks about the destruction of Yadu dynasty. He states that many so-called religious persons have fallen down by committing the second offense against chanting of the holy name, namely Vishnu Sarveshware Tad Itara Samadhi, considering another living entity to be equal to Lord Vishnu, who is the Lord of all the Lords. One who is captured by impersonal tendency of Mayavad philosophy falsely thinks that the external material energy of the Lord is equal to his internal spiritual potency. In this way, one equates ordinary living entities with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking Krishna to be another aspect of Maya. This is a most unfortunate misconception, for it spoils one's opportunity to understand God as he actually is. Persons inclined towards this illusory conception of life would undoubtedly consider the members of Yadu dynasty equal in all respects to Krishna and worship the future descendants of Krishna's family as being equal to Krishna himself. Thus, the continued presence of the Yadu dynasty on the earth would certainly constitute a great impediment on the path of spiritual understanding and a great burden on the earth. To counteract the danger to the world from the offense of equating Vishnu with the family of Vishnu, the Lord decided to crush the Yadu family. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is always affectionate to his devotees, but whenever the familiar descendants of Lord Krishna become inimical or indifferent to him, not loving his pure devotees or making friendship with his servants, such so-called family members of the Lord become impediments to his will. There is a tangible danger that ignorant living beings will worship such inimical persons, revering them as close associates of Krishna. For example, to consider Kamsa the maternal uncle of Krishna and therefore a faithful servant of Krishna would be a completely erroneous conclusion. By such a misconception, evil men who oppose the Lord may be accepted as his intimate associates, and persons inimical to Krishna may be thought of as his surrendered dependents appearing in his own family. The purpose of the destruction of Yadu dynasty was to eradicate the false logic of the Mayavadis, who desired to see everything as one in all respects and who therefore improperly reason that the enemies of Krishna's devotees can be his intimate family members. That sounds the book. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So this is the answer to Parikshit Maharaj's question. King Parikshit inquired, how could the Brahmanas curse the Vrishtis, who were always respectful to the Brahmanas, charitable and inclined to serve senior and exalted personalities, and whose minds were always fully absorbed in thought of Krishna? King Parikshit inquired, what was the motive for this curse? What did it consist of, O purest of the twice born? And how could such a disagreement have arisen among the yogis, who all shared the same goal of life? Please tell me all these things. So we see here, if we go back from the 11th canto to the 10th canto, Parikshit Maharaj all throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam is asking a lot of relevant questions. And if you see Parikshit Maharaj in the 10th canto, when the sweetest of all the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam, lastly like its Parikshit Maharaj is seriously asking a very philosophical question. Now here is the most sweet pastimes revered by all the acharyas, revered by all the great devotees, the most sweetest of pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Parikshit is asking a most philosophical and serious question. How can Lord enjoy? How Lord, who came to establish the religion, yada yada hi dharmasya, how can he even touch someone else's wives? Can you imagine? It's a very serious question, very philosophical and serious question. And here also, Parikshit Maharaj is asking a very serious question. How come the Lord's own associates engage in such ghastly warfare among themselves, the devotees? And in the section of Ras Leela, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj, with the most serious question Parikshit Maharaj is asking, Sukadeva Goswami is giving very, very serious answer. And here, the question is so serious. Parikshit Maharaj is answering such a sweet thing, just the will of the Lord. Now in Rasa Leela, Parikshit Maharaj's questions, Sukadeva Goswami didn't say, will of the Lord. भगवान की इच्छा हुआ नाचने के लिए नाचा. And here the Lord Parikshit Maharaj's question, though it is also serious, Sukadeva Goswami is answering in the most sweet way that this is the will of the Lord. So for a very sweet pastime of Rasa Leela, Sukadeva Goswami is giving a very serious answer. But to a very serious pastime like Maushala Leela, this Leela is called Maushala Leela, Sukadeva Goswami is giving a very sweet answer. Now was Rasa Leela not the will of the Lord? Rasa Leela was also the will of the Lord. And Maushala Leela is also the will of the Lord. But Sukadeva Goswami is answering this because today we will learn a very important principle about Sahajiyaism. How Sahajiyaism is not just a practice, it is actually a philosophy, it's a mindset, it's a mentality within everyone's heart. Just like we say in Srila Prabhupada's glorification that Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Now we may think that in Paschatya Desa people, they didn't know about who is Sankaracharya and what is this Mayavad philosophy, what is this Saririka Bhashya. They never read about it. And Srila Prabhupada went and we are glorifying Srila Prabhupada about Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. So Srila Prabhupada went to West and he delivered the Western countries from Mayavad. Where is Mayavad? They never knew who is Sankara. They never knew what is Saririka Bhashya. So we need to understand that Mayavad is not just in Saririka Bhashya. Mayavad is in tendency. It is everywhere. It is a tendency within our heart. Similarly, Sahajiyaism is not just wearing some gopi dress and dancing. Sahajiyaism is also within our heart. And today we will discuss about this principle of Sahajiyaism, how it is within our heart. So when Uddhava came to Vrindavan, he spoke about the letter that Krishna gave to all the gopis and the gopas. And when the time came, Uddhava said, why don't you write? Why don't all of you write letters that I can deliver to Krishna? And all the gopis started writing. But Srimati Radharani, when she started writing, there were like palm leaves and there were ink, and Srimati Radharani started to write, but she could not write anything. She was crying and crying and crying, and the ink and the tears were mixing, and the leaf was becoming completely soaked. And then Lalita is giving another leaf. Okay, you write here. And Srimati Radharani tried so much to write, and with multiple failed attempts of multiple palm leaves, Lalita took the hand of Radha and said, "Oh Radhe, this blank leaf soaked with your tears is your love letter. Please give this to Uddhava, and Krishna will understand everything, because there are no words in this universe that can describe the supremacy of your love." Now we also see that when Rukmini, she wrote a beautiful letter. She wrote such a wonderful letter to be sent to Krishna, to inspire Krishna to come and kidnap. So here is Radha, who could not write any words of love. And here is Rukmini, who wrote such a wonderful letter, which we read and which so many acharyas have given so many commentaries. And here is Bhisma, who is not writing words of love. He is sending arrows of love to Krishna. So Sahajiaism, the first principle is that love is not in the practice. Love is a principle. So Sahajiaism is to think that love is in practice. But actually love is a principle, not within any practices. It is not that some practices will bring us love, but it is when a principle of love applied to any practice that makes us connected with Krishna. So I repeat, it's not about that some practices will create love within us. It's about a principle. When applied, then those practices or any practices can bring about love. So whether it is about not even able to write the words in the letter by Radharani, or about Rukmini able to write such a wonderful letter, or about Bhisma sending arrows to love Krishna, everywhere there is love, because love is beyond certain practices, it's a principle. So when Yadus in this context are fighting so strongly, right? So when they're fighting, there is love. Sometimes we may think that fighting means there is no love. So Yadus are fighting, but because they're fighting for satisfying or fulfilling the will of Krishna, there is love. When Arjuna is fighting with so much of valor, yesterday we were reading about valor. Arjuna and the Pandavas, they're fighting with so much of valor. There is love. They're not writing love letters. Kurukshetra war was not writing about love letters. But there is romance. So that's why we need to understand that love is not in a practice, love is in a principle. Just like Arjuna was fighting with valor, he's writing love letter to Krishna. That is his love letter. Similarly, all of us are involved in different types of services. That is our love letter. For someone who is fighting legal cases for getting land for Krishna, the land deed is the love letter. For someone who wants to cook 10,000 people prasadam for Janmashtami, the recipe master is the love letter. For someone who wants to do the deity worship and not able to remember the mantras, and the deity in charge has said you have to chant the mantras, that list of the mantras is the love letter. For someone who wants to serve the devotees who are sick, who are hospitalized, the medical prescription that the doctor has given, that medicines has to be prescribed and given to that, administered to that devotee. That medical prescription that we get from the doctor is actually the love letter. But Sahajiaism is to think that, oh, Shitva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara. When that Rukmini's love letter is the love letter, oh, what nonsense is this? I have got this prescription and I have to administer this devotee, this medicine. This is not love letter. So this tendency of Sahajiaism is in your heart. So Sukadeva Goswami is making us understand this Leela in a more sweet way to help us understand that how to see love of the Yadus. So please try to understand how there is so much of sweetness involved in such a ghastly story. Srila Prabhupada would be so much upset. One time, all of you know this story, how one person who was in Vrindavan, serving in Vrindavan, and telling, "Oh Prabhupada, everyone in Vrindavan, there is Radhe, Radhe, everyone has come to Vrindavan to chant Radhe, Radhe, and you have given me service to count the bricks? Is this love and romance? Counting bricks?" Srila Prabhupada says, this is love. Counting the bricks in Vrindavan. Because Sahajaism is a tendency. That tendency can creep in any of the service we take. And with this tendency, if you go to Vrindavan and Uddhav is coming, then we'll be thinking something else. Because it's a tendency. The professional reciters, they would not discuss anything about Srimad Bhagavatam, that though Srimad Bhagavatam contains so many pastimes of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam contains the pastimes of the first canto, the second canto, the cantos of creation, cantos of where Kapila Muni is telling about Devahuti, about teeth grinding philosophy. Rasa Leela is not just about Krishna dancing with the gopis. It's not a practice, it's a principle. Definitely, that principle of love was epitomized, attained the zenith with the gopis. But that doesn't mean that Bhisma is not exhibiting that principle, or Arjuna is not exhibiting that principle, or the Yadus are not exhibiting that principle, or all of us given the service by Srila Prabhupada to take care of the ISKCON temples, or do book distribution, or to preach, and varieties of services. We all have opportunity within our services to perform Rasa Leela with Krishna, if we understand that romance is not about a practice. It is a principle that is being spoken about. And Sahajiaism is a tendency to consider that romance is in the practice. Right? And just imagine taking this specific example, elaborating this specific example. Just consider the case of the Yadus. We are seeing that Parikshit is getting a doubt that how could Yadus fight? Generally, when people fight, then we think, correct? Imagine 3 people are fighting. क्या बोलेंगे? संस्कार नहीं दिया मौका दिखाने. Like that, people think, right? And the way Yadus fought, okay, at least if you are fighting verbally, at least you are fighting physically, but you are drunk and fighting physically. From a very bad family. So just imagine. And it's not that Yadus were not knowing that for time immemorial people will have doubt. Some will open the Bhagavatam and get clarified, but 99% will be in illusion of that doubt. That Yadus, power corrupts. Power corrupts. When you have strength, when you have power, you become proud and fight. Just see, Yadus did like that. They will not open Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th verse, and see, oh, Sukadev Goswami, the Vairagya Chudamani, is glorifying this fight in the most sweetest way. They will not open it. Sukadev Goswami has nothing to give or take with any of the conflicts. And that too, brothers are fighting in a fratricidal war. And he's answering, oh, Viprat Bapu Sakala Sundara. Just see the context of the verse. Just try to analyze the sweetness within the answer. There is so much of ghastliness in the question itself. But see the sweetness in the answer. This is Raslila. It's not about some practices. It's about a principle that Sukadeva Goswami is trying to show to us, which we can implement right away in our life. Not that we have to wait, or when I will go to Vrindavan and do Ras with Krishna. Right away, if we start applying this principle, we can. So the Yadus, they are very, very, we see in Mahabharata, when Duryodhana was coming and trying to show off and advertise about the situations and everything in Khandava forest, Duryodhana, Karna and everyone came and they were camping there, and the Gandharvas got disturbed and they started attacking Duryodhana, and Arjuna and Bhima were standing like this. And Yudhishthira in Mahabharata, he says, no, Arjuna and Bhima, you should go and protect them. And Arjuna says, we will not protect. We will not go. And you know what Yudhishthira says? For outsiders, we are not 105, we are 105. When there is some problem coming from the outside, we are not 105 separate, we are 105 because हमारा outsiders के प्रति भी एक इज्जत है. We have also some respectability and we must say we are all brothers. So just imagine Yadus. What to speak of outsider? The whole universe is looking. अरे क्या कर रहे हैं? What doing? दारू पी के fighting कर रहे हैं. So we need to understand that the Yadus were ready to forego their respectability for time immemorial, for people to question that Yadus were not respectable. They did a very despicable act of engaging themselves in a fratricidal war, being corrupted by power and pride. They were not. They were just trying to love Krishna. And for trying to love Krishna, they were ready to forego their respectability as Kshatriya. And that's why Parikshit Maharaj is asking, how could Brahmanas curse the Vrishni dynasty who were always respectful to the Brahmanas, charitable and inclined to serve senior and exalted personalities, and whose minds were always fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna. Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is the standard of respectability of Yadus. That Parikshit, because Parikshit is also very much related, their family is very much related to the Yadus. Parikshit Maharaj is born, Vasudev and Kunti were brothers and sisters, so they were almost like cousins. So Parikshit is the one who knows what is the Yadu dynasty. And that's what Parikshit is telling us, what is the respectability of the Yadus dynasty. The respectability of Yadu dynasty or the Vrishnis were, they were always respectful to the Brahmanas. They were ready to forego that respectability. They were always charitable and inclined to serve senior and exalted personalities. When there were fight, the young Yadus started fighting the old Yadus, and the old Yadus started beating the young Yadus, and there was like chaos. So they were ready to forego their charitable and inclination to serve the senior and exalted personalities. And not that much. They were ready to forego that respectability they had, that their minds were always absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. How could some little bit of beverage affect the mind of Yadus, who are eternal associates of Lord? Yes, but they were ready to forego that respectability also, just so that they can serve Krishna. And we see also that this doubt that Parikshit is having, will everyone have, but these yadus, they're ready to forego that. And that's why love is a principle of sacrifice. It is not just a practice, but it's a principle of where we are ready to forego for giving pleasure to the Lord. And we consider the gopis. What great thing that a woman can have other than chastity. And the gopis were ready to forego that. Bhishma. You see Bhishma. The whole, you go out. We know that Bhishma is a great devotee. You go out and what people speak about Bhishma? This is what people speak about Bhishma. And no matter whatever you may try to convince, you say, नहीं, महाभारत में लिखा हुआ है, भीष्म खुद बोल रहे हैं, मैंने दुर्योधन का नमक खाया, दुर्योधन के साइड से फाइटिंग करना पड़ेगा. Yes. And don't think that Bhishma was not knowing this. Sometimes we think, oh, maybe Bhishma was just in Bhagwan ne Yog Maya mein dal. He was knowing. He was fully aware of the fact that people who are going to come for time immemorial are going to have such doubts about my character and integrity because of fighting on the side of Duryodhana. He was ready to forego that. Just imagine. So, Sahajiism is about understanding that some practices will give us love, but actually love is not in the practices. Love is a principle of sacrifice, ready to forego everything for the pleasure of the Lord. And that's how, like when I was in college, when I first came to college, I learned, actually in nursery we learn ABCD. And in college also they teach ABCD. I was shocked. In college they taught A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A boy can do everything for the girl. And when I came to ISKCON, I learned ABCD. A bhakta can do everything for God. So we need to understand that what we are reading, the Maushal Leela, has love, the sweetness of the love. What we are doing services in the kitchen has love, the sweetness of the love. What we are doing management on direction of Srila Prabhupada of ISKCON temple has love. What we are fighting the legal cases for protecting the property of Krishna is love. And what we are going out and raising funds to build a temple for pleasure of Nitai Gauranga is love. Just the love letters are different in different cases. If you want to raise funds, the checkbooks are the love letters. It creates such ecstasies that the temple is going to come. So we need to understand that Sahajiism is about not ready to pay the price of sacrifice and get involved in some cheap practices and think that I will awaken love in my heart. Going to Vrindavan will not bring love. Surrendering to the instructions of sadhus, shastras, and sacrificing, ready to forego everything for the service will bring about. And that's how we see the famous story. In next 10 minutes we will discuss about it. What is the price? So we see how Sanatana Goswami in the Ante Leela it comes. Kaviraj Goswami describes how Sanatana Goswami, when he was coming from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, on the way in the Jharkhand forest, he took some water which was bad, and because of which he got some diseases. and because of which his body started oozing out very bad. It became sore and it started oozing out fluids. And Sanatan Goswami, when he saw his body completely gone and it's like spores and oozing out fluids and all, he felt so disgusted. Is this my body that I want to go and meet Lord Chaitanya? When Lord Chaitanya will see this body? Anyway, because of being born in such a low-class family, I cannot anyway take darshan of Jagannath. My only hope of going to Jagannath Puri was to take darshan of Lord Chaitanya. But just see what my body has become. It is giving such abominable smell. Fluids are oozing out of it. And it is itching. How can I even stand in front of Lord Chaitanya? I am so unfortunate. I am such despicable. I am so lowly. Now I know what I will do. When I go to Jagannath Puri, I will go in front of the cart of Jagannath. I will give my life. I will put my body, which is so useless, in front of the chariot of Jagannath, and I will end my life. After seeing Sanatana Goswami's thing, after seeing Lord Jagannath, I shall give up my body under the will of the car in the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This will be the highest benediction of my life. This is what Sanatana Goswami was thinking when he was going to Jagannath Puri after he contracted these diseases. And then Sanatana Goswami and Haridas Thakur started staying together, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would every day come, and Sanatana Goswami would from a very far distance pay dandavat to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would run seeing Sanatana Goswami and pick him up and embrace him. And all the fluid pass and all the blood and everything will stick to the body of Lord Chaitanya. And then Sanatana Goswami would feel, what is happening? He will feel so disgusted of what is happening. Why did I come to Jagannath Puri? And he would constantly have thoughts that maybe I will not even wait for the Rath Yatra festival. I will go and drown in the ocean and end my life. One day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he was seriously speaking to Sanatana. This is Antelila, 4th chapter, 55th verse of Antelila, 4th chapter, 55th verse. Sanatana deha tyage Krishna jadi paye. Koti deha kshane ke tabe chhadite pariye. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sanatan, if by giving up this body one can get Krishna, I would aspire for crores of body and give up my body crores of time just to increase my love for Krishna crores of time. If you can one time suicide, 10% increase of love. Then commit suicide more and more. Scientific principle, mathematical principle that Lord Chaitanya is telling. Engineering of love. Deha tyage Krishna na pai paiye bhajane. Krishna praptera upay kono nahi bhakti bine. Deha tyagadi jata saba tama dharma. Tamo rajo dharme krishnera na paye marma. Oh Sanatan, do you understand that by giving up this body, this is filled with mode of ignorance? And mode of ignorance, mode of passion. If you remain in mode of passion and ignorance, you will not be able to find the trace of love for Krishna. But then, Sanatana Goswami's thought process is that many of the devotees who are great devotees, they want to commit suicide. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clarifying. You see, this is what we wanted to speak. Bhakti bina Krishna kabhu nahe premoday. Prema bina Krishna prapti anya hoite nai. Deha tyagadi tamo dharma pataka karan. Sadhaka na paye tate Krishnera charan. Oh Sanatan, you understand that without devotional service, without devotion, you cannot have Premodaya in your heart. And without Premodaya, you will not get Krishna. And this Dehatyag, this suicidal thing, these are all Tamo Dharma, this is mode of ignorance. And Pataka Karma, it will take you to hell. Sadhaka na paye tate Krishnera charan, you will not get Krishna's charan by that. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clarifying a very interesting thing. Premi bhakta biyoge chahe deha chadite. Preme Krishnan mile seha na pare marite. Yes, those who are in great love for Krishna, yes, it is true, Sanatan, that they also desire to commit suicide. They also desire that, oh Krishna, where are you? I feel that I should drown in the ocean. Vasane kutivo matha, onale pasivo, gauranga gunera nidhi, kothagila bhava. So yes, the premi bhaktas in separation of the Lord and devotees, they think like this, that I should kill myself. Gadha nuragera viyoga na jaye sahan. Tate anuragi banche apona mara. Kubudhi chadiya kara sravana kirtan. Achirat pabe tave Krishnera charan. So you have got the practices of a great devotee, but you have missed the principle of a great devotee. The practice of a premi bhakta is he feels, oh, I should live my life, I should end my life. But that is the practice of love. But you should understand, follow the principle of love. That is, kubudhi chadiya kara shravan kirtan achirat pave tave Krishnera charan. So the Sahajiyaism is to think, oh, I will cry, oh Krishna, I'll kill myself, I'm feeling separation. This is just a practice. Oh, where is Vrindavan? Let me go to Vrindavan. You will not find Krishna in Vrindavan. Except for the hogs and the stools of the hogs, you're not going to find anything in Vrindavan. If you leave ISKCON and go to Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada is giving us Vrindavan through the services that we have got. But because of this Sahajiyaism tendency, we think, oh Krishna, just like Sanatan Goswami is thinking, oh, if I commit myself, I should suicide and everything, I'll get Krishna. Just committing suicide in front of Jagannath, oh, I'll die, I'll get Krishna. Kubudhi chadiya, this is useless. Narakya buddhi. Krishna is not in Vrindavan. Krishna is in the principle of Vrindavan. That is love. Love and sacrifice. What the yadus are sowing, what the gopis are sowing, what the Bhisma is saying, what Arjuna is sowing. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is finally telling, this little later, Prabhu kahe tomar deha mora nija dhan. Tumi more kariyacho atma samarpan. Oh Sanatan, your body is my property and you have surrendered your property to me. Parera dravya tumi kena chaha vinasite. Dharma dharma vichara kiva na para karite. You say yourself as a very great dharmic, Sanatan, and you try to destroy the property of someone else. Your body is my property. Tomara sarira. This is last thing we will discuss, and this is the last we will recite again. Tomara sarira mora pradhana sadha. E sarire sadhimo ami bahu prayojan. So the last line of this verse is the principle that is being exhibited by the Yadus, by the Gopis, by Bhisma. E sarire sadhimo ami bahu prayojan. This body is meant to execute the will of Krishna, because this body is property of Krishna. This is the principle of love. And the practices can be anything. Being in kitchen, management, legal cases, or writing love letters and songs for Krishna. Whatever it is, the principle of love is Tomar sarira mora pradhan sadhan. The Yadus, they considered that our bodies are for executing the will of Krishna. E sarire, our bodies, bahu prayojan, Krishna will do lot of things through our bodies. So this is the sweetness that Sukadeva Goswami is trying to sow in this pastime, that Lord has a plan for all of us. And to surrender to Lord's plan is the principle of love. And the practices will not create that principle. Rather, we need to really make our heart resonate with this principle. And that's how in Uddhav Sandesh, the first word Krishna says about the gopis is Mad arthe tyukta dehi kaha. Mere arth ke liye they forego everything about their body. Respectability, physical comfort, and mental comfort. So we need to understand that this principle of sacrificing or ready to forego one's bodily, mental inconveniences and respectability just to give Krishna the pleasure is the principle of love. And Sahajiyaism means to not be ready to pay that price and get involved into the practices of the great devotees and think that through the practices I will one day awaken love. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Maushal Leela ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.